This is part 2 of all of the slabbed comic books of my collection, and these are considered the all-stars of my collection. You're not going to want to miss this video. Welcome guys to another episode of Comics with Bonics, and this is part 2 of my top slabs of my collection. These are the top 40 graded comic books, and these are my keepers. I've consolidated all my collection, and these are the final 40 that I've kept. And if you guys haven't seen the first video, click on the card here. You guys will be able to see what my reserve list is. So I've separated them from 2 videos. Part 1 was the 20 reserve list, and these are the all-stars, the top books of my collection. Once you guys see that video, come back to this one and you'll be able to see what the best books of my collection will be. So just to recap, I've consolidated all my collection to the final 40, and I feel like that's now been my focus to either upgrade the copies that I have or replace some of the books with new ones. If I were to add a book to my personal collection, it would be added to the top 40, and I would take one off of the top 40 and so on. I originally got these ideas from some of the members of the community, such as Automatic Comics. He definitely gave me some inspiration to keep my collection small but high quality. So you guys will probably see a theme here. All of these books were arranged in order of value. We're going from the lowest value all the way to my most expensive comic book, and there will be all my favorite characters within this collection. So without further delay, let's go into the top 20 books. So at number 20, this book has always been one of my favorite covers, and this is Fantastic Four number 49, the first cover appearance of Galactus and the second appearance of Silver Surfer. This has always been an iconic Jack Kirby cover, and this was an upgrade that I recently did within the past year. I used to have a lower grade copy, but so far I've been happy with this mid-grade copies. You'll see that a lot of my Silver Age books are around mid-grade. I try to get to that mid-grade range just because they present pretty well, and this is no exception. So at number 20, Fantastic Four 49. So next up at number 19, we have Incredible Hulk number 2, the first time the Incredible Hulk is in the color green. And this, I haven't seen too many copies of this floating out there. Seems to be a pretty scarce book to find, and I was able to acquire it at a pretty good price a couple of years ago, and I've kept it ever since, and I feel like it deserves to be in my keeper list. 2.5, but it presents really nice, so super happy with this copy. And another book that is also a huge key book in my collection is Fantastic Four number 48, the first appearance of Silver Surfer and cameo of Galactus. This, when I got back to the hobby, seemed to be one of the iconic Silver Age books, and I've always wanted one copy that presents really nice. I used to have really low grade copies with chunks missing, but ever since I acquired this book in a collection back in 2020, I've sold off the rest of the collection, but kept a few, and this is one of them. And this deserves to be in my keeper list. I will always be happy with having a first Silver Surfer in my collection. So the next book is one of my favorites from the Spider-Man series. It is Amazing Spider-Man number 14, the first appearance of the Green Goblin. This book I purchased raw and got it graded, and it has been one of my prized possessions when it comes to Amazing Spider-Man. I just absolutely love this cover. Green Goblin is my favorite villain for Amazing Spider-Man. I just feel like when it comes to Steve Ditko covers, this is one of the best in my opinion. So definitely deserves to be on the keeper list. The next one is a Fantastic Four book, and this is a recent acquisition. This is Fantastic Four #4, the first Silver Age appearance of Namor, the Submariner. This presents super nice for a 3.5. I used to have a 1.8, just wasn't happy with the defects on it, and this came out to be an absolutely awesome upgrade. So I'm very happy to have this in my keeper list, and it'll probably stay in the collection for a while. The next book on the list at number 15 is a book that I recently got in a collection about less than a year ago. This is Silver Surfer #1, and this one was signed by Stan Lee. It is Signature Series, witnessed by CGC. And this one, you can see that the signature of Stan Lee is right there next to his surfboard. This one is a black cover, so having it in a high grade, also signed by Stan Lee, is a pretty nice combination. I just like how the signature doesn't detract from the cover either. I'm not a big Signature Series collector, but a few Signature Series books has made into my collection. I'm happy to have this, and this is also significant because it's the first solo title for Silver Surfer, and this is at number 15. So the next book, another Fantastic Four book that's a huge key in the series. It is Fantastic Four #3, the first time the Fantastic Four dons their costumes. It's also the first appearance of the Fantastic Four car, this car here, and the first time that they established their headquarters, as well as the first appearance of Miracle Man. And this one is pretty expensive for what it is, even though there's no major first appearance. I think it's because it's within the first 3 issues of Fantastic Four, and just a scarce book, not too many copies in the census. So even at a 4.5, this is a very expensive book. However, I feel like Fantastic Four is the top 3 titles that I love to own in my collection. So this one is a must-have for a Fantastic Four fan. And here we have another huge first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man. It is Amazing Spider-Man #3, the first appearance of Dr. Octopus. And this is in a respectable 3.5 and pretty clean copy. This has always been a tough book for me to find at a great price. I feel like this is one of the top Spider-Man books for all of comic book collectors. And this has always been a tough one to acquire, but I'm happy to have this grade. Maybe one day we'll upgrade it, but for now, this is a great keeper for my personal collection. And now we have some of my favorite Bronze Age books, and it made it to the top 20 of my all-star list. This is Amazing Spider-Man #129, just a mega key in the Bronze Age, and first appearance of Frank Castle, the Punisher. I used to have a 7.5, and I recently upgraded to an 8.5, and I love how this one presents the colors. Also, the centering on this book is awesome as well. And this one I feel like I will always have this book in my collection as long as I'm collecting comic books, because I just love the character, and the Netflix series was amazing. So always just an iconic book when it comes to Spider-Man and Marvel. And another Bronze Age book that I will always have in the collection is Giant Size X-Men #1, the first appearance of the new X-Men, Colossus, Storm, Nightcrawler, and Thunderbird. This one I upgraded recently. I had a faded copy that was a 6.0. I've had that since 2018, I want to say. And recently, probably like a year ago, I upgraded to this 8.0. And I feel like this is another book, even though I'm a Silver Age collector for the most part, this is another book that I will always want in my collection because, as you guys know, I'm a huge X-Men fan, and this is one of the biggest keys when it comes to X-Men. And we're down to the last 10 books of my collection, the top 10 of my all-star list. If you guys are enjoying the video, please hit the like button. And if you guys are new here, please subscribe to my channel so you guys can catch future content. And for the next book, we have another Bronze Age key, and this is one of the top Bronze Age keys. Made it in the top 10. I'm so happy to have this in the collection. So grateful to have a copy of Incredible Hulk 181, first full appearance of Wolverine. This one is just an absolutely gorgeous copy for a 6.0. Recently was upgraded from a 5.0, and I'm super happy to have this. This is also has the potential of being upgraded because it has some dirt and some non-color breaking creases and finger bends. So maybe one day, but for now, I'm super happy to have this. This was one of my first huge keys that I had in my collection that allowed me to have the inspiration to keep collecting all the big, expensive comic book grails. So this is one of them that's going to be in my collection as long as I'm collecting comic books. And here we have, at number 9, we have a huge Marvel key character, and this is his first appearance in Journey into Mystery number 83. This is the first appearance of Thor, and this was a recent acquisition, probably within a year or so. I got a pretty good deal on this. I wanted to wait until after the comic boom because in 2021 and 2022, for the most part, this book was really expensive. It was more than 10,000 even in this grade. So I was happy to get it really after the prices corrected a little bit, but still a huge first appearance that will allow me to collect all the first appearances of all the Silver Age characters. So I'm glad to have Thor in my keeper list. And this is number 8. We have some huge books coming, guys. So this one was a recent upgrade as well. This, even though is not a hero, he's a villain book, but it's one of the biggest villains. It's Fantastic Four, number 5. This is the first appearance of Doctor Doom, and this copy is something that I recently acquired. I used to have a 3.5 that had binder holes in it. There was 2 binder holes here. That one I traded away for 2.5 plus cash, and then I had that 2.5 for a while, and I upgraded back to this 3.5. So this is a super nice copy for a 3.5. Doom's just a badass villain that I love to have in my collection. And now that I've been having this book, I feel like I even want to upgrade to a higher grade. But of course, this is such a deserving spot at number 8. And now that we're at number 7, even though this is number 7, I feel like this is one of my most prized possessions. Just because of how scarce and rare it is. This is Superman number 3, one of the only Golden Age books I have in my collection. This I picked up raw recently, and I had it graded, came back a 3.5 blue label, which I'm very, very happy about. A lot of these old books, this one's actually from 1940, so first 3 issues in the Superman title, which if you think about it, that's just absolutely insane. Just 2 issues after Superman number 1. And this is not any key appearance or first appearance. It's just an iconic cover with a locomotive right underneath, Superman flying, holding a kid. And I read this book, it was such a treat. I flipped through the pages before I got it graded. One day I'll release a video of that, but the story was amazing. They actually used a lot of the panels in this book, the story of this book, to create Superman number 1 with Christopher Reeves. So when I remember watching that movie when I was a kid, and just that's really what gave me the love of superheroes. But this, I feel like I can probably hold on to this as long as possible, just because there's no way I'm getting another copy if I were to ever sell this. So this is definitely a keeper, definitely an all-star at number 7. And along with the other Golden Age book, I have another Golden Age book that is Batman number 3, and this is coincidentally number 3 as well as the Superman number 3. I got it from the same seller. This one I already purchased graded. It was a CBCS 4.5. I ended up getting it cracked, cleaned, and pressed. It came back the same grade for CGC. Don't show this book too often, and it's one of those other books from the Batman series that's just super hard to find. I know there's like less than 400 copies total on the census. Superman 3 is less than 300 copies. So definitely super rare when it comes to superhero books. This is also from 1940, and this is also a key appearance because it's the first time that the Catwoman is in her costume. So first appearance, first 3 issues of Batman. One of those other books that if I were to sell this, it would be super hard to replace. But at number 6, we have Batman number 3. And are you guys ready for the top 5 books of my collection? This has been such a journey for me. I feel like when I started back up in 2018, if I were to look forward and see that this is my collection now, I would just be speechless. I wouldn't have believed any of these books would be in my collection at all. But here we are. We're at my top 5, and each book has a huge significance to me. As you guys know, these are some of my favorite characters. So let's go ahead and show number 5. This is a recent upgrade. One of my favorite books. It is Amazing Spider-Man number 1. First time he's in his solo title. And this one, I used to have a 2.5 and was recently upgraded to a 4.0. If you guys want to see the video where I purchased a 3.5, but I regretted it and ended up getting a refund, I'll go ahead and put the card for that video right up here. And this one, I'm super happy with now. Just a gorgeous copy, and there's no chipping on this copy as well. Super clean, and this one, I feel like I'll have this one for a while. I'm super happy with it. I don't see the need to upgrade it any higher. So again, number 5 of my top 5 of my collection. Now we're at number 4. I'm getting so hyped for these top 4 because these are just the grails that I can only dream of when I started collecting. And at number 4, we have Fantastic Four number 1. This is the first appearance of the Fantastic Four. This book pretty much started it all and created the Marvel Universe. This is a CBCS 1.8. Got this at a really good deal back in 2020, and I've had it ever since. This one, even though in low grade, still no big chunks missing. There's some color loss on the front cover, but overall it presents really nice. I've been really happy with it, and just having the first appearance of one of the biggest franchises in Marvel, and I'm super happy to wait to see what they do with the movie. So at number 4, I'm super happy with this keeper. Now we're at the top 3. This one is my favorite franchise of all time. However, it's not my favorite character because we have just a bunch of characters. This is X-Men 1. This is the first appearance of all of these characters that you see on the cover here, as well as Professor X. And as a big X-Men fan, this is just the holiest of all books. This one is also signed by Stan Lee. You can see the signature placement is really nice. It's right there. And this one at a 3.0 has really nice colors and presentation. There's no chipping on this book as well. There's a little bit of like a tape stain, but that's about it for a front cover at a 3.0 signed by Stan Lee. I'm really happy with this copy. It was upgraded. I upgraded this about a year ago, and I feel I'm super happy to have this in a signature series because Stan Lee created the X-Men and Jack Kirby drew this cover, and just super happy with this book. And the second highest book that I have in my collection is a copy of Incredible Hulk #1, the first appearance of Hulk Bruce Banner. And this book, even though it's in a low grade 1.5, this one is complete. It is attached and it presents pretty nice. It does have some writing on the title there, but overall, I haven't really seen a lot of these low-grade Incredible Hulks for sale. I don't see them for sale too often. I think it's because it's a more scarce book. It's high demand, yet there's not a lot of copies compared to like Amazing Spider-Man or X-Men. So I'm super happy I picked this up when I did. I got it at another big book that I bought in 2020. I just went crazy in 2020. I bought like, out of my top 20, I feel like I bought like 6 of them in 2020. I just went crazy, and I'm glad I did because I sold a lot and I bought a lot. So I used some of the funds that I sold to acquire some of these key pieces, and I've just been happy to have them in the collection ever since. So again, at #2, Incredible Hulk #1. And with the last book, the top book of my collection, and this should be no surprise to many of you that have watched my channel, it is Amazing Fantasy #15. And this is the first appearance of Spider-Man Peter Parker. This is in a CGC 2.0. And this has been the top of my collection for quite a while now. I picked up this copy in 2021, in August of 2021, right before the trailer of No Way Home. And I'm glad I picked it up when it did, because after the trailer hit, these prices just went insane. So I had another copy prior to this. I sold that copy and then used some of it and reacquired it because it got harder and harder to find a copy. So I ended up purchasing this. I have a video of when I picked up this book. I'll go ahead and leave a card of it here. But this is still the biggest book in my collection, and it's still one of my favorites. Obviously, huge fan of the Spider-Man comics. Spider-Man with growing up with the cartoon, as well as reading the comics when I was 10 years old. This has always been something that I thought was unachievable, but I will say that using a lot of the money from selling my collections, flipping those into bigger books has always been something I've been proud of. And if you guys have seen some of my videos, you guys know that that's my concentration and my focus, to focus on just top key appearances and something that you'll have a proud of ownership for. So again, guys, top book in my collection. This is the all-star of all all-stars in my collection, and it's at #1. And give you guys a good look. This one I had recased because I had this book in the older CGC slab, but this was recased. Looks really, really nice in the new one. And there you go, top book in the collection. Thanks guys for checking out the top books in my collection. If you guys haven't checked the other video, go check out that one along with this one. I'm glad you guys stayed till the end. And with that, guys, I want to thank you for joining me here on Comics with Bonix. And as always, I want to remind you to collect your passion. We'll see you guys in the next video, and take care.